I've been in the shop experimenting with making segmented blanks, and this is one of the most recent segmented blanks that I've made. The woods are cherry and pine, primarily because I have quite a lot of both of them, and secondly, because when you are experimenting with segmented blanks, you tend to have a lot of false starts and you end up having to throw a bunch of stuff away. So you don't want to start out using your most exotic, nicest wood. What the plan is today, I've got a Sierra tube here. I'm going to go ahead and get this blank prepped for a Sierra tube. We're going to turn it and see how it looks when it's turned. I normally like to use epoxy when I glue my blanks up, but since this is a test blank and we want to get it to the lathe as quickly as possible, I'm going to use a little medium CA glue and I'll hit it with some activator. Looks pretty good. Let's get rid of some of that excess CA there. You can see it's just below the surface on each side. Now I'm going to step away from the camera so as not to get any of the activator on the camera. Hit it with the activator. I'm going to let it set and dry for just a few minutes. Then we'll square these ends and get it on the lathe. Looks like I did a really nice job centering this blank. We've got it chucked up, and let's get to turning. This blank turned well and it sanded well. Now I did flip-flop it between grits, which is the same as reversing your lathe. It just allows you to take grain that gets laid down while you're sanding one way. If you turn it the other way, it'll raise that grain up so that you can sand it smoother. I think I get a nicer finish. The only issue I had is you'll notice these dark spots down here. What that is as I sanded off onto the bushing, some of the metal got sanded away and that metal got deposited in the blank. That's a problem that could have easily been corrected. I could have put a single coat of thin CA on this blank before I started sanding it, and I would not have had this issue. It has been a while since I've turned a blank, and that is a step that unfortunately I just forgot. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and clean this blank up. We'll get it on some nonstick bushings, and I'm going to apply CA just to see how it looks. Overall, I'm happy, with the exception of the metallic dust. Denatured alcohol to clean the blank. I'm going to flip this over because I noticed quite a bit of that metallic dust came off on the rag. Let's see how it looks. It actually cleaned up quite nicely. Take a look at that. I'm surprised and not going to complain. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes for the denatured alcohol to flash off, and then we'll come back and start applying our CA finish. I've given the blank plenty of time to flash off the denatured alcohol. I'm just going to use this acetate brush, and all I'm trying to do is remove any lint from the paper towel. You don't want to touch this with your fingers because you just don't want to get the oil from your fingers on the blank. It can cause white spots in your CA finish. First coat going on. I think the pine is really going to soak up these first few coats of thin. So let's put a couple of more on, and then we'll get a much better idea of how this blank is going to look. That's 4 coats. Not looking too bad. A couple of more coats of thin, and we'll be ready to go with the medium. First coat of medium going on. I got about 4 more coats of medium, and then we'll come back and take a look at the blank and micromesh it. We're back over at the disc sander, And if you look at the end of my blank, you'll notice a little fingernail of CA. When I use nonstick bushings, I wipe off of the blank right onto the bushing to make sure that the CA flows down to the end of the blank and we don't get a little bulge of CA. We do get a fingernail, but that's why we come to the disc sander and we're going to clean it up right now. You want to be very careful when you come back to the disc sander, because since you've taken the blank down so far, it'd be really easy to sand away the tube and the blank and shorten it. You just want to kiss it against the sanding disc until you get rid of the fingernail. And now we're ready to go back to the lathe and micromesh our blank. Off camera, I'm going to run through all 9 of my micromesh pads. The way we'll do this is we'll wet the pads and then we'll run them back and forth on the blank for 15 seconds. When we're finished, we'll wipe the slurry before moving to the next pad. Once we've completed all 9 pads, I'll put a little Renaissance wax on my blank. We'll buff it up on the buffing wheels and we'll take a look at just how nice it looks. Got the blank micromeshed. We got some wax on it. The wax has had plenty of time to set up and we're ready now to buff it off with the wheels. Take a look at that shine. The blank turned out beautiful. Almost makes me want to put it into a kit. Only issue is I don't have a lot of kits available right now, so we're not going to do that. But yeah, this segmenting process has been fun to teach myself. I've got the demo pretty well complete. I need to tweak it a tiny bit. And this is what I'll be teaching at the upcoming pin shows in 2025. So any pin show that I get invited to come and demo at, you're going to see how this blank is made. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I haven't made a video for you in a while, and I've been wanting to make one, but my focus has been on making these segmented blanks and teaching myself how to make them and developing the material to be able to demo them at the pin shows. And I really wanted to just take the time today to turn one and see how they look, because while I've been making a lot of them, I haven't been turning them. I am very happy. I got to say, I'm very happy with how this turned out. I hope you guys like the blank, and I hope you come to the pin shows this year and we get a chance to meet and I get a chance to demo this for you. In regard to these blanks, I have a number of these in pine and cherry out on my Etsy store. Link will be in the description below if you'd like to try some. I even have a few that are 6.5 inches long. I made some long ones so that you can turn them onto an Artemis or an Apollo pin, and they lend themselves really nicely to that. There will be others out there as I continue to make these. I'll make some out of some more exotic woods. I've been using some woods that aren't quite as nice, simply because I don't want to practice and learn on my good stuff. But as I make some more out of the nicer woods, they'll be placed on the Etsy store, so check back often. I'd like to thank you for joining me in the shop today. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon, and have a great evening.